Question 1. A project team is nearing the end of an iteration, but a critical user story remains incomplete, with its acceptance criteria not fully met. The team's definition of done, DOD, requires all features to be thoroughly tested and integrated before being considered complete. What should the team do with this user story? A. Mark the user story as complete, but note the remaining work as a defect for the next iteration. B. Declare the user story as incomplete and move it back to the product backlog for reprioritization. C. Ask the product owner to relax the definition of done for this specific story to meet the iteration deadline. D. Complete a partial delivery of the user story to demonstrate progress during the iteration review. Answer. B. Declare the user story as incomplete and move it back to the product backlog for reprioritization. The definition of done, DOD, is a critical quality gate in Agile projects, ensuring that all work meets a predetermined standard of quality and completeness before it's considered done. Since the user story does not meet the DOD, it cannot be marked as complete, preventing the accumulation of technical debt or partially finished work. The appropriate action is to return it to the product backlog where the product owner can decide whether to prioritize it for a future iteration, break it down further, or adjust its scope. This maintains transparency regarding true progress and upholds the team's quality standards. Remember, if it's not done, it's not done. Question 2. A traditional project team discovers a significant defect in a recently completed deliverable during the quality control process. The defect will require substantial rework and impact the project schedule. What is the best immediate action the project manager should take? A. Document the defect and the rework required, then submit a change request. B. Instruct the team to immediately begin rework to minimize schedule impact. C. Escalate the issue to senior management for guidance and approval. D. Adjust the project baseline to account for the rework and new schedule. Answer. A. Document the defect and the rework required, then submit a change request. When a significant defect is identified during quality control, it represents a deviation from the planned quality standards and project baselines. The most appropriate immediate action is to thoroughly document the defect, including its impact on scope, schedule, or cost, and then formally raise a change request. This ensures the change control process is followed, allowing for proper analysis, approval, and communication before any rework or adjustments to baselines occur. Acting unilaterally to begin rework or adjust baselines bypasses critical project governance. Always follow the established change control process for significant deviations. Question 3. During an Agile project sprint review, a key stakeholder expresses dissatisfaction with a recently delivered feature, stating it doesn't quite meet their underlying business need, even though it matches the written user story. What is the most appropriate action for the team and product owner? A. Apologize for the misunderstanding and commit to rebuilding the feature in the next sprint. B. Explain that the feature was built precisely according to the approved user story and its acceptance criteria. C. Document the feedback, discuss it with the stakeholder to understand the root cause, and update the product backlog. D. Mark the feature as incomplete and remove it from the iteration's accomplishments. Answer. C. Document the feedback, discuss it with the stakeholder to understand the root cause, and update the product backlog. The sprint review is a crucial feedback loop where stakeholders inspect the increment and adapt the product backlog as needed, emphasizing collaboration and continuous improvement. When feedback indicates a mismatch with business needs, even if the user story was technically met, it signals an opportunity to refine understanding and prioritize future work. Documenting the feedback, engaging in a dialogue to uncover the true underlying need, and then updating the product backlog with new or modified items ensures that the product evolves to deliver maximum value. This approach embraces agility by adapting to new information rather than simply defending past decisions. Question 4. A project's critical path is delayed by 2 weeks, threatening the final delivery date. The project manager identifies an activity on the critical path that can be performed in parallel with another activity, potentially reducing the overall project duration. This approach would involve some increased risk. What schedule compression technique is the project manager considering? A. Resource leveling. B. Crashing. C. Fast tracking. D. Schedule baseline adjustment. Answer: C. Fast tracking. Fast tracking is a schedule compression technique where activities or phases that are normally performed in sequence are performed in parallel, or with some overlap. This allows the project to potentially complete sooner, but it often increases risks, such as the risk of rework or conflicts, because dependencies are being violated. Crashing, another compression technique, involves adding resources or working overtime to complete an activity faster, which typically increases costs but doesn't necessarily involve parallel work. The description of performing activities in parallel directly points to fast tracking. Question 5. A project has an earned value, EV, of $75,000 and an actual cost, AC, of $80,000. What is the Cost Performance Index, CPI, and what does it indicate about the project's financial performance? A. CPI equals 0.9375, the project is under budget. B. CPI equals 0.9375, the project is over budget. C. CPI equals 1.0667, the project is under budget. D. CPI equals 1.0667, the project is over budget. Answer: B. CPI equals 0.9375, the project is over budget. The Cost Performance Index, CPI, is calculated as earned value, EV, divided by actual cost, AC, CPI equals EV/AC. In this scenario, CPI equals $75,000/$80,000 equals 0.9375. A CPI value less than 1 indicates that the project is performing poorly regarding cost, meaning it is getting less value than the money spent, or in other words, it is over budget. A CPI greater than 1 would mean the project is under budget, while a CPI of exactly 1 signifies the project is on budget. This metric provides a crucial indicator of cost efficiency for the work completed. Question 6. An Agile team is struggling to consistently meet its sprint commitments, often pulling user stories into a sprint that are not fully understood or properly estimated. This leads to stories frequently being incomplete at the end of the sprint. What concept should the team implement or strengthen to address this issue? A. Definition of done, DoD. B. Sprint review. C. Definition of ready, DOR. D. Daily scrum. Answer: C. Definition of ready, DOR. The definition of ready, DOR, is a set of criteria that a user story or product backlog item must meet before it can be considered ready for inclusion in a sprint. If stories are being pulled into a sprint without being fully understood or properly estimated, it indicates a lack of readiness. Implementing or strengthening a DOR ensures that the team only commits to work that is clear, actionable, feasible, and estimable, thereby improving the likelihood of successfully completing sprint commitments. The definition of done, on the other hand, applies to work after it's been developed within the sprint. Question 7. During project execution, the project manager collects data on actual start and finish dates, actual costs, and technical performance measures. This raw observation is then analyzed to determine the project's health and progress. What is the raw observation collected during project execution known as? A. Work performance information. B. Work performance data. C. Work performance reports. D. Project status updates. Answer: B. Work performance data. Work performance data represents the raw observations and measurements collected during the execution of project activities. This includes specific data points like actual costs incurred, actual durations, percentage of work completed, and the number of defects found. This raw data is then analyzed and processed to become work performance information, which provides context and meaning, such as current status, forecasts, and variances. Finally, work performance reports are the physical or electronic representations of work performance information compiled into formal documents. Question 8. An Agile team's daily Scrum has become a lengthy discussion forum where team members attempt to solve complex problems and design solutions in real time. This frequently extends the meeting beyond the recommended time box. What guidance should the Scrum Master provide to correct this behavior? A. Suggest holding the daily Scrum every other day to reduce meeting frequency. B. Remind the team that the daily Scrum is for coordination and progress updates, not detailed problem solving. C. Invite key stakeholders to the daily Scrum to help resolve impediments more quickly. D. Implement a strict agenda for the daily Scrum, requiring each member to speak for no more than 1 minute. Answer. B. Remind the team that the daily Scrum is for coordination and progress updates, not detailed problem solving. The daily Scrum or daily stand-up is a short, time-boxed event, typically 15 minutes, specifically for the development team to synchronize activities and create a plan for the next 24 hours. Its primary purpose is to inspect progress toward the sprint goal and adapt the sprint backlog, not to solve complex problems or design solutions. When such discussions arise, the team should identify them as topics for a separate, follow-up meeting involving only the necessary individuals. The Scrum Master's role is to facilitate this understanding and ensure the team adheres to the event's purpose and time box. Question 9. A project manager identifies a potential improvement in a project's technical approach that could significantly reduce future operational costs for the client. Implementing this change would require additional upfront investment and a minor adjustment to the current project schedule. What is the appropriate process for proposing and deciding on this modification? A. Inform the sponsor of the proposed change and await their decision. B. Implement the change immediately to capture the benefits, then update the project management plan. C. Submit a change request to the integrated change control process. D. Discuss the change with the team, update the scope baseline, and proceed. Answer. C. Submit a change request to the integrated change control process. Any modification to the project scope, schedule, or cost baselines, especially those requiring additional investment or schedule adjustments, must go through the formal integrated change control process. This process ensures that all proposed changes are reviewed, analyzed for impact across all project areas, and either approved or rejected by the appropriate authority, typically the Change Control Board, CCB. This structured approach prevents scope creep, maintains project control, and ensures alignment with project objectives and stakeholder expectations. Never implement changes without proper authorization, always follow the change control procedure. Question 10. A project schedule network diagram shows activity A, duration 5 days, followed by activity B, duration 7 days. Activity C, duration 8 days, can start after activity A is complete. Activity D, duration 4 days, can start after both activity B and activity C are complete. If activity A starts on Monday and works on weekends, what is the earliest activity D can start? A. Day 10. B. Day 11. C. Day 13. D. Day 14. Answer. C. Day 13. This question requires calculating the early start of activity D by tracing the critical path through the network. Activity A finishes on day 5, Monday plus 5 days equals Friday. Activity B, starting after A, finishes on day 5 plus 7 equals day 12. Activity C, also starting after A, finishes on day 5 plus 8 equals day 13. Since activity D can only start after both activity B and activity C are complete, it must wait until the latest finish of its predecessors. The latest finish between B, day 12, and C, day 13, is day 13. Therefore, activity D can start on day 13. Remember to consider all predecessor paths when determining the earliest start date. Question 11. An Agile team is experiencing issues where user stories are brought into sprint planning with vague requirements, leading to frequent mid-sprint clarifications and rework. The product owner is overwhelmed with prioritizing new features and rarely finds time to elaborate on upcoming stories. What Agile practice should be emphasized to resolve this? A. Daily Scrum. B. Sprint Review. C. Product Backlog Refinement. D. Sprint Retrospective. Answer: C. Product Backlog Refinement. Product backlog refinement, also known as backlog grooming, is the ongoing process where the product owner and the development team collaborate to add detail, estimates, and order to the items in the product backlog. This includes breaking down large items, clarifying requirements, and ensuring that items are ready for future sprints. The issues described, vague requirements and mid-sprint clarifications, are direct symptoms of insufficient backlog refinement. Emphasizing this activity ensures that sprint planning starts with well-understood, well-defined, and estimable user stories. This proactive work improves sprint execution and reduces costly rework. Question 12. A project manager is concerned about maintaining the integrity of the product's design and functionality throughout the project lifecycle, especially as changes are inevitable. They want to ensure that all changes to the product's characteristics are tracked, reviewed, and approved. Which process area addresses this concern? A. Quality control. B. Scope validation. C. Configuration management. D. Integrated change control. Answer: C. Configuration management. Configuration management is a system engineering process that establishes and maintains consistency of a product's performance, functional, and physical attributes with its requirements, design, and operational information throughout its life. It focuses on identifying the configuration of the product, systematically controlling changes to the configuration, maintaining the integrity and traceability of the configuration throughout the project lifecycle, and performing configuration audits. While integrated change control manages changes to the project baselines, configuration management specifically deals with the product itself and its versions. Think of it as version control for the product's specifications and deliverables. Question 13. A large software project uses an Agile approach. The team has completed several iterations, consistently delivering working software. However, the project sponsor expresses concern that despite these deliveries, the project isn't realizing the expected business value as quickly as anticipated. What aspect of delivery should the team reevaluate? A. Team velocity. B. Definition of done. C. Product backlog prioritization. D. Sprint retrospective frequency. Answer: C. Product backlog prioritization. While consistently delivering working software and having a strong definition of done are crucial, delivering business value depends fundamentally on what is being built. If the sponsor feels value isn't realized, it suggests that the most impactful features might not be consistently prioritized at the top of the product backlog. The product owner, in collaboration with stakeholders, is responsible for maximizing the value of the product resulting from the work of the development team, primarily through effective backlog prioritization. Re-evaluating this ensures the team is always working on the highest value items that contribute directly to the project's strategic objectives. Question 14. A project team is implementing a new quality management approach. To ensure that the project processes are indeed following the established quality policies and procedures, and that the quality standards are being met, the project manager regularly reviews work results and internal processes. Which process is the project manager performing? A. Perform quality control. B. Plan quality management. C. Manage quality, quality assurance. D. Control quality. Answer: C. Manage quality, quality assurance. Managing quality, often referred to as quality assurance, is the process of auditing the quality requirements and the results from quality control measurements to ensure that appropriate quality standards and operational definitions are used. Its focus is on ensuring that the processes themselves are effective and efficient, leading to confidence that the project will satisfy relevant quality standards. Perform quality control, by contrast, is about monitoring specific project results, deliverables, to determine if they comply with quality standards and identifying ways to eliminate causes of unsatisfactory performance. Managing quality is about the how and if the processes are working correctly, rather than inspecting the final deliverable. Question 15. A project has a planned value, PV, of $200,000 and an earned value, EV, of $180,000. What is the Schedule Performance Index, SPI, and what does it indicate about the project's progress? A. SPI equals 0.90, the project is ahead of schedule. B. SPI equals 0.90, the project is behind schedule. C. SPI equals 1.11, the project is ahead of schedule. D. SPI equals 1.11, the project is behind schedule. Answer: B. SPI equals 0.90, the project is behind schedule. The Schedule Performance Index, SPI, is calculated as earned value, EV, divided by planned value, PV, SPI equals EV/PV. In this case, SPI equals $180,000/$200,000 equals 0.90. An SPI value less than 1 indicates that the project is performing poorly in terms of schedule, meaning less work has been completed than planned for the current point in time, or simply, it is behind schedule. An SPI greater than 1 would mean the project is ahead of schedule, while an SPI of exactly 1 signifies the project is on schedule. This metric helps quickly assess the project's schedule efficiency. Question 16. During a sprint retrospective, the Agile team identifies that a recurring impediment is the slow response time from an external department providing necessary technical data. This often blocks the team from completing user stories on time. What is the most effective outcome of this discussion? A. The team decides to add buffer time to future estimates for tasks involving external data. B. The Scrum Master logs a formal complaint with the external department's manager. C. The team develops an actionable plan to collaborate with the external department's liaison to improve data flow and communication. D. The product owner adjusts the scope of future user stories to avoid reliance on the external department. Answer: C. The team develops an actionable plan to collaborate with the external department's liaison to improve data flow and communication. The sprint retrospective is a dedicated time for the team to inspect itself and create a plan for improvements to be enacted during the next sprint. Identifying an impediment like slow external responses is an excellent outcome. The most effective next step is for the team to collaboratively develop a concrete, actionable plan that addresses the root cause by improving interaction and communication with the external department. Simply adding buffer time doesn't resolve the underlying issue, and a formal complaint might damage relationships. The focus should be on practical, team-driven solutions that enhance future performance. Question 17. A project team has delivered a prototype to key stakeholders. During the formal review, stakeholders point out several discrepancies between the prototype and their initial requirements, which were documented and approved. What process is being performed to gain formal acceptance of the completed deliverables? A. Control quality. B. Validate scope. C. Control scope. D. Perform integrated change control. Answer: B. Validate scope. Validate scope is the process of formalizing acceptance of the completed project deliverables by the relevant stakeholders. This process involves reviewing the deliverables with the customer or sponsor to ensure they are acceptable and meet documented requirements. When stakeholders identify discrepancies, it means the deliverables may not yet be formally accepted, and further action, possibly rework and subsequent revalidation, may be required. Control quality focuses on checking if the deliverables meet quality standards, whereas validate scope focuses on gaining stakeholder acceptance of those deliverables. Question 18. A software development team uses a Kanban system to manage its workflow. They notice a bottleneck forming at the testing column, with multiple items accumulating there. What is the most appropriate action for the team to take, according to Kanban principles? A. Pull more items from the development column into testing to keep testers busy. B. Add more testers to the team to increase capacity in the testing column. C. Swarm the testing column, with all available team members helping to resolve the bottleneck. D. Implement a stricter work in progress (WIP) limit on the development column. Answer: C. Swarm the testing column, with all available team members helping to resolve the bottleneck. A core principle of Kanban is to optimize flow and limit work in progress (WIP). When a bottleneck occurs, it indicates a constraint in the system. The most effective immediate action in a Kanban environment is for the team to swarm the bottleneck, meaning that team members who have completed their current tasks, even if they're not primarily testers, should lend their skills to help clear the backlog in the testing column. This focuses the team's effort on finishing work already started rather than starting new work, thereby improving overall flow and reducing cycle time. Limit WIP, don't start new work until current work is done. Question 19. A project manager is overseeing a complex infrastructure project with multiple sub-projects and external vendors. Ensuring that all components of the project, including technical interfaces, resources, and schedules, are effectively coordinated and integrated is a constant challenge. Which project management knowledge area is primarily concerned with this holistic coordination? A. Project scope management. B. Project communication management. C. Project integration management. D. Project resource management. Answer: C. Project integration management. Project integration management is the knowledge area that encompasses the processes and activities to identify, define, combine, unify, and coordinate the various processes and project management activities within the project management process groups. It's the project manager's unique responsibility to integrate all aspects of the project, ensuring that the disparate elements, from plans to execution to changes, all fit together cohesively to achieve the overall project objectives. This domain is all about seeing the project as a whole and making sure everything aligns. Question 20. During project execution, a critical risk materializes, causing a significant delay to a key deliverable. The project manager has already implemented the planned risk response, but the impact is still greater than anticipated. What is the best immediate action the project manager should take? A. Update the risk register with the new status and proceed with the remaining project activities. B. Implement an identified contingency plan or workaround and raise a change request if necessary. C. Inform stakeholders that the project will be delayed and adjust the schedule baseline. D. Re-evaluate the project management plan and develop a new strategy for completion. Answer: B. Implement an identified contingency plan or workaround and raise a change request if necessary. When a risk event occurs and the initial risk response is insufficient, the next immediate step is to implement a contingency plan, if one was developed for this specific risk, or devise a workaround if no plan exists. This proactive step aims to mitigate the realized impact as quickly as possible. Following this, if the impact is significant and affects project baselines, scope, schedule, cost, a formal change request must be raised. This ensures that the deviation is properly reviewed, approved, and communicated before any official adjustments are made to the Backlog plan. Question 21. An Agile team is planning its next iteration. They have a well-groomed product backlog, but the team struggles to agree on what work to commit to for the upcoming sprint, often overcommitting and failing to complete all stories. What aspect of iteration planning should the Scrum Master focus on to improve this? A. Ensuring all user stories have clear acceptance criteria. B. Emphasizing the team's historical velocity to forecast realistic commitments. C. Facilitating detailed technical design discussions for each story. D. Inviting more stakeholders to the planning meeting for input. Answer: B. Emphasizing the team's historical velocity to forecast realistic commitments. A common reason for overcommitting in iteration planning is a lack of understanding or respect for the team's actual capacity. The Scrum Master should guide the team to use their historical velocity, the average amount of work, e.g., story points, they completed in previous iterations, as a key input for forecasting how much work they can realistically pull into the upcoming sprint. This data-driven approach helps the team make sustainable commitments, leading to more predictable deliveries and improved team morale, as they are more likely to meet their self-imposed goals. While acceptance criteria are important, velocity directly addresses the how much they can do. Question 22. A project has an original budget at completion, BAC, of $500,000. At a certain point, the earned value, EV, is $250,000, actual cost, AC, is $300,000, and the Cost Performance Index, CPI, is expected to continue at its current rate. What is the estimate at completion, EAC, for this project? A. $416,667. B. $500,000. C. $600,000. D. $625,000. Answer: C. $600,000. To calculate the estimate at completion, EAC, when future performance is expected to be at the same cost performance as the past, the formula is EAC equals BAC/CPI. First, calculate the current CPI. CPI equals EV/AC equals $250,000/$300,000 equals 0.8333. Then, use this CPI to find the EAC. EAC equals $500,000/0.8333 equals $600,000. This indicates that at the current rate of spending, the project is expected to finish over budget. Understanding EAC helps project managers forecast future costs and potentially take corrective actions. Question 23. An Agile team is developing a new mobile application. During sprint reviews, stakeholders often express confusion about certain features, despite the development team stating they followed the user stories precisely. The product owner realizes that the user stories themselves, while describing functionality, lack specific details on how to confirm the feature works from a user's perspective. What should the product owner add to the user stories to improve clarity and reduce misunderstanding? A. Technical specifications. B. Detailed wireframes. C. Acceptance criteria. D. Mock-up diagrams. Answer: C. Acceptance criteria. Acceptance criteria are a critical component of well-defined user stories in Agile projects. They are a set of conditions that must be met for a user story to be considered done and acceptable to the product owner and stakeholders. These criteria clearly outline the how to confirm aspect from a user's perspective, defining the boundaries of a user story and providing specific, testable conditions. Adding acceptance criteria ensures that both the development team and stakeholders have a shared understanding of what constitutes a complete and correct implementation, thereby reducing confusion and rework. Question 24. A project manager discovers that a newly appointed functional manager has unilaterally assigned a key team member to a different project, potentially impacting the current project's schedule baseline. The project manager needs to ensure this action does not compromise the current project's objectives. What is the most appropriate action to take? A. Immediately reassign another team member to the role and inform the functional manager. B. Consult the resource management plan and stakeholder engagement plan for guidance. C. Update the schedule baseline to reflect the potential delay caused by the resource change. D. Raise a formal change request to reflect the resource reassignment and its impact. Answer: B. Consult the resource management plan and stakeholder engagement plan for guidance. When a critical resource is reassigned without prior consultation, it's a significant deviation that could impact the project. The project manager should first consult the project's established plans, specifically the resource management plan, which defines how resources are acquired, managed, and released, and the stakeholder engagement plan, which outlines how to engage with functional managers and other stakeholders. These plans provide the defined processes and communication strategies for handling such situations, which may include escalation paths or predefined conflict resolution methods. Taking immediate action like reassignment or baseline changes without consulting the plans could lead to further issues. Question 25. A project manager for a software development project finds that the team consistently builds functionality that is technically sound but sometimes over-engineered or provides less utility than anticipated by the end users. The project uses an Agile approach. What principle is the team failing to adequately address in their delivery? A. Sustainable pace. B. Technical excellence. C. Maximizing the amount of work not done. D. Simplicity, the art of maximizing the amount of work not done. Answer: D. Simplicity, the art of maximizing the amount of work not done. This Agile principle emphasizes focusing on delivering only what is truly necessary and valuable, avoiding unnecessary complexity or features that don't add significant value. If the team is over-engineering or delivering less utility, it suggests they are doing too much work that isn't directly maximizing value or adhering to the simplest solution. Maximizing the amount of work not done means consciously choosing not to build features or components that aren't essential, thereby streamlining delivery and ensuring that the most valuable elements are prioritized and effectively delivered. This principle guides teams to be lean and focused on core value.